The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I am not Ryan Kairalla, but it's still a pleasure to have you all here. I'm Zach Sloan, covering for the suspiciously absent Ryan Kairalla, and do I have a show for you? Our guest today is Maria Ellis, a Berkeley-trained singer, songwriter, and producer. And speaking of producers, we've got, as our co-host today, the one, the only, the irreplaceable Producer Lauren. How are you doing, Producer Lauren?
Am I really irreplaceable if I regularly replace myself?
The key to a good leader, the captain of a ship, is that if you go down, that your number two picks up the slack, and it's like you were never though. It's like you weren't even absent. Every time
That's the
you've been
stage
gone,
manager thing. Like my prompt book, it lives with the show, because if I don't make it to the show must still go on. Oh my gosh, I love your cup. Can you drink that again? Sorry, the radio audience can't see this, but he totally just drank out of like a little mini Marshall amp.
It is a Marshall.
Oh, it's not a Marshall amp. It's an amped amp.
It just says amped. My bandmates gave this to me for Christmas last year because I love Marshall amps. If you've ever listened to my records or seen me play live, the Marshall sound is what I go for. But dude, I'm old, Lauren, and Marshalls do two things that are too much for me and my bandmates. One, they are freakishly loud. Like, if you want to get the good Marshall sound, you have to crank it, and I don't want to do that anymore, Lauren. Like, I think you can appreciate
in-ears now.
Yeah, we've got in-ears, and I think you can appreciate, especially like if you're mixing something on stage, the lower the stage volume, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I can just keep my stage volume low, that makes life better for everybody. And I've never in my entire career, Lauren, wanted to be that overbearingly loud guitar player. Like, I hate that cliche.
But you have to feel it. It's not about the sound. You have to, if you don't feel it physically moving you, you're not playing loud enough.
And here's the thing is I understand why guitar players say that. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying that I fully disagree.
Yeah.
What I have learned is that if I make sure that the mix in my in-ears or in my wedges is good, it doesn't really matter because I'm relying on that and not my amplifier. So
that's the difference between a producer and like the old school rock and roll live stage band musicians. Like a garage band, when you felt it in a garage bouncing off the walls,
right,
it was a very physical, visceral thing, right? If you listen to good quality music on good quality headphones, you can pick out details that you can't hear in a big loud room with things bouncing off of walls and moving you across the room. So it's a completely different thing. But as a producer, 1,000% agree with you. Give me control. Let me hear details.
Well, and like, because in the Zach Sloan band, I was also the vocalist, and so I needed to hear my own vocals. And in Dear Marcia, I'm not the vocalist, but the vocalist still needs to hear their vocals. Because I got news for everybody. If the singer can't hear themselves, the whole show is going to be bad. So the biggest reason I don't use Marshall amps anymore, and I used to have the JCM 800, the half stack, blah, 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 is they're too loud. Second, Lauren, I'm old. I am 43. Right. I am not carrying that crap around anymore.
That's what I was thinking. They're heavy.
Dude, it's too much. And like, in my entire career, I used to travel around and tour around with a half stack, and there was maybe a handful of gigs. I mean, less than 5, like 3 to 4, where I was in a venue that could sufficiently handle me cranking it. And Lauren, have I ever told you about the biggest venue I ever played, an amphitheater in West Texas?
No, do tell.
Okay. So this is a fantastic. Poor Ryan. Ryan leaves the show, and all of a sudden it comes into the Zach Sloan telling horror stories comedy
Dude.
hour.
Loving it.
So this is right after Hurricane Katrina, and I am in my band at the time playing lead guitar, and we get booked to do a Hurricane Katrina benefit. And we're like, absolutely, we would love to do it. It's at this amphitheater. I forget the name of it, but it's outside of Lubbock. And we get booked, and a bunch of bands from all over Texas get booked to come play. And I'm excited because I got this big old amp, and I'm finally in a position to play it, right? And we are second or third on the bill. Like, we're down a little ways. Like, I mean, from the bottom. Like, we're not the headliners. But we get out there, we do our quick sound check, and I'm looking around going, man, there's not a whole lot of people here. Like, But, it's still early. The first band plays, we're in the back in the green room. The second band plays, we're in the back in the green room. The third band plays, and we're the third band. And so as we're going out, the stage manager comes out, and she says, and I quote, "I need you guys to act like people are there," and then she leaves. We walk onto stage. We literally played in an amphitheater. I forget how many thousands of seats it held. But we literally played to the sound guy and his girlfriend and the beer vendors. They sold, I kid you not, Lauren, they sold 9 tickets to this benefit.
Oh my gosh. But it wasn't so okay. So when you say 9, I'm like, okay, they didn't show up till the headliners got there. No, that was their sales.
No, they sold
Oh my
9
gosh.
tickets. And so I'm on stage with my amp and we're playing, and the drummer looks at me and he goes, "Hey dude, you should just turn your amp up as loud as it will go." He's like, "There's nobody here to get angry." So I walked over and I crank it, and you see the sound guy jump out of his seat. And we played our 40-minute set to a couple beer vendors and the sound guy and his girlfriend. One of the headliners was coming all the way from a couple hours outside of town, and we actually called them, and we're like, "Hey, you guys probably just shouldn't come. This is not a good use of your time."
No, don't do it. We'll cover for you. No one will notice. Don't worry.
I was involved in one of the few fundraisers that actually took money from the cause.
Oh no.
I can't
That's
say that
awful.
definitively. That's mostly a joke, but we lost. There's no way that sent a dime to Hurricane Katrina relief. There's just no way. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. Well, not the most.
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous gig I've ever played.
That's
But yeah,
they had their hearts in the right place. They wanted to help, and they tried. And you played your heart out, knowing that your intentions were for those victims. Whether or not the other people did their jobs does not negate your piece of that puzzle.
it's one of the few times I can say that I could honestly feel my amplifier moving the air around me, and that was cool. But the
Yeah.
thing I learned is that the promoters,
Yeah.
air quotes promoters, who did that, did not promote the benefit beyond asking the bands to promote and putting up flyers on, telephone poles and stuff. And so
That's a sad one. That
yeah,
happens. That's a huge disclaimer for artists out there in general. People get super excited when they get booked on something. And having been somebody who's been on tour for decades, you can tell the difference between the venues that are like, great, you're coming in, you're going to bring an audience, and the venues that are like, these are our people, we know what they want, we brought them in for you. Because they I can have followers, we can have things, but I don't know your market. If
Right.
I'm traveling to Podunk Nowhere, Nebraska, I really hope that the promoters know the people in Podunk Nowhere, Nebraska, because they're great people, but the New York mentality isn't going to reach them.
yeah,
It's
right.
just not.
And the only thing I would change, if we could say that you're traveling to Podunk Nowhere, New Mexico, because that was the name of my first album.
Podunk
Um,
Nowhere, New Mexico?
No, it's actually just called Nowhere, New Mexico, but Podunk
Oh.
Nowhere, New Mexico.
Well, that's going to be the follow-up.
I should be. You know what? The record I'm working on now can be Podunk Nowhere, New Mexico. But you raise a great point. It should be whenever we're talking about promoting shows. This is not at all what we were going to talk about on the show today, but here we are. When you're promoting shows, be very leery when it's the venue putting 100% on you, And also, as an artist, do not expect the venue to do all the work. It really should be a partnership.
Yeah.
You two should be working together. And I get very nervous when I talk to venues that see it one way or the other.
Right.
If they're not willing to collaborate, that's a huge red flag for me as a musician.
For
What about you
sure.
in the theater? How does that work in the theater world that you're from, Lauren? How do these promotional things go?
Well, so like the venues that will reach out to us and say, "Hey, we've got these media gigs lined up. Can you do this radio interview and this television interview? And here's our setup for this. And if you could send us a few clips that we can post on our social." And I'm like, "Great. Give me what you need and where you need me to be, and I will be there." But the venues that don't set those things up, I can tell you before I get to those gigs, I'm going to be like, "Well, this one's going to be like pulling teeth," because we get there and we're like, I know before I got there that stuff wasn't put in. And me, I'm a show, but even if I was a band, if I was in anything, if I'm going into that town, me getting onto a local television network to promo my local show, they're not going to answer my call.
Right.
A venue that has a relationship with them, that has built that relationship, so they always put a little plug in for whatever happens to be going on this weekend. Like, those relationships win for both the venue and the acts. But those are the venues that ideally you want to work with, because like you said, they're partnerships, right? They're not doing everything for you, but they're doing what needs to be done from a local perspective that you can't do if you're not local.
Well, it's an interesting thing to think about, because when you're traveling, you probably don't have the reach that, and this I'm speaking more from like a musician's, like a band standpoint, but like,
Yeah.
you know, when you travel, you don't have the pull outside of your local market where you've probably made a name for yourself, right? If you're traveling and you're touring, first thing I would hope is that you have a strong pull in your local market. Second, when you're going outside of that, you just can't do it on your own. And I love what you said there about getting to the local market, like the places that people locally get their information about shows, whatever that type of show may be. Local TV is great if you can do it. Local radio is great. But you got to be doing some of that, or else it's going to be a catastrophe. But Lauren, segue, we're good at this. Even people who have name recognition, the people out there like the Post Malones, the Jelly Rolls, if you will, the Pussycat Dolls, they're having a hard time selling tickets. Did you see this article from the Times about Blue Dot Fever?
Yes.
So,
You had to teach me about this. Now I have to look for the dreaded blue dot.
dude, Blue Dot Fever, something I was not aware of. But basically, it's an illness just rampant in the music industry right now. And the symptoms are going onto Ticketmaster and seeing that your tickets are not selling and that all those dots are blue where you're buying seats because nobody's purchased them. The Pussycat Dolls recently canceled a tour, basically stating, "We're not selling enough tickets." Other artists like Meghan Trainor have done the same thing. Now, Meghan Trainor did not say it was because of ticket sales. She had other reasons. The suspicion is when you go and look at the Ticketmaster sites to see how many tickets are selling, she wasn't selling very many.
It wasn't
forget the
because
cat-
of the blue dots, but there were blue dots, but it wasn't their fault. But they
You know,
were
and
there.
I looked at like the list of reasons people are giving, and it's like you're seeing things like, "Well, I have family commitments," as if you didn't know you had a family commitment when you booked an arena tour.
Right.
We're seeing something really interesting, Lauren. For a long time on this show, we have talked about how if you're a recording artist, you cannot not rely on record sales, streaming as a source of income. You need to be, and I have championed for a long time, live. Play live, play live, play live. And I think I might have been wrong. I'm wondering if the live market is collapsing a little bit. And is it, like we've been talking about on the show for, it seems like ad nauseum, a result of these monopolies of Live Nation, Ticketmaster, who jack up prices to the point where even if I wasn't going to see the Pussycat Dolls, but even if I wanted to, I'm not going to pay the prices they were asking.
Right.
I might have seen Meghan Trainor. I don't know. She's cool. She has some ties to Colorado, but if I'm spending a lot of money, I'm not even gonna go see one of my favorite bands of all time, Coheed and Cambria in Colorado Springs. It's just too expensive. I'm waiting to catch them next year. So this live money is not materializing for these artists. And I suspect it's not just music industry. I suspect theater's probably seeing this. I would be curious about sporting events. But go ahead.
Whenever I see these things, I always wonder if it's, and this is just my hopeful thinking, right? Is it a shift towards the indie markets where you go when you see the big giant, we have to have these big giant arena tours. We have to do all these big giant things. And there's so many people putting their hand into the coffers and pulling out their little piece of the pie that like there's nothing left. And people don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to go see their artist perform for a night right now. Are we getting back to a place where you'll go pay $20, $50 to go see your local band because you don't want to go pay $200 to see the band that you can already hear their record? Maybe we'll get more local stuff people go to.
You know what?
Can I be hopeful?
Lauren, and let me tell you this. That is my exact calculus. I'm going to catch, I seriously, I'm going to see, I just referenced Coheed and Cambria. They're opening for another band in the Springs this summer. I'm not going to go see it. It's too expensive. I'm going to go see them at Red Rocks because somehow that's actually cheaper. But you know what I am going to do in about 10 days or so? I'm going to go see Ella Luna, friend of the show. If you remember Ella Luna.
Are you going to go see Ella Luna?
Ella Luna's playing in Denver on May, the 20th. So it's coming right up.
It's like 2 weeks.
May 20th at the Globe Hall. So she's playing a medium to small venue. The tickets are like $35. She is one of the most talented artists I have ever seen.
She's incredible.
Oh, she's wild. I think she's the only time we've had a guest sing on this show where literally backstage I was like,
you were like, I'm going. Where's your next concert?
Oh no, I was like in tears. And I have like some, all kidding aside, I produced her first 2 albums.
Yeah.
But her first 2 records, one of which she took down because we made it when she was 14. She's just too good. But she was one of those artists that when I first saw her as a teenager, I was like, she is by far and away the most talented person I'm probably ever going to get to work with. I'm thrilled that I got to work with her. But she's playing a show for $35. And you know what? I'm going to go. And I'm going to encourage everybody else, if you're in Denver, go to the show. But wherever you are, go catch a local band. Find somebody who is on the upswing. Like, you know what? If I'm out where Maria Ellis, our guest, is this week, if I'm near her, I'm going to go catch one of her shows because she makes good music. And I don't know if I need to spend Taylor Swift money to go see an act when I can see fantastic talent in a smaller venue.
I started doing the same thing theater and performance-wise. You got these big Broadway tours, and I've always gone to see the things. And I'll go, you know what? I'm not going to pay $200-$300 to see the show I've already seen. But when I'm hanging out in my favorite town of Podunk, nowhere, Nebraska, I'm going to go see what I don't know what's happening there, but it's a town now. I'll go see. We were at Vanderbilt University. I was taking my niece up to New Student Day, bragging rights right there. And I have to find the picture. We totally went and hung out with Katie Zaccardi. She's a real person. I met her.
I'm jealous. I've never been in the same room with Katie Zaccardi. I wasn't sure she was real.
Exactly. That was my thing. You're a real person. Dog, real dog.
What?
I know. I was there and we're like, we could do this, we could do that. There's a local production at the theaters, like they're not even theater majors at their school, I don't think. But like they were doing a little show there, and my niece was like, let's go see that. And I'm like, you can go see these hundreds of dollar Broadway shows, or you could come see, the one-man Star Wars trilogy on tour with me, or one-man Lord of the Rings, or one-man Dark Knight, or one-man Pride and Prejudice.
Whoa, stop. You do one-man Pride and Prejudice?
Well, I'm not a one-man. You never heard of the shows that I do?
No, I heard of these shows. You have omitted.
Yes, that we added one-man Pride and Prejudice in there. Oh, yes. That's the only one he wears like a proper costume for, too. He's got like the little roof.
What?
It's based on the BBC miniseries with Colin Firth. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
This is amazing.
Yeah. You can be a nerd about anything you want. He happens to also just be a nerd about Pride and Prejudice.
This is not coming from a place of criticism. This is coming from a place of like amazement, because that seems like somehow that seems harder to do than Star Wars with one person.
Legit.
I don't know how you do that because
exhausting.
of the interaction that is required.
Yes, there's a lot of horse riding and
Dude, there's so much.
there's so much.
That
It's all
is-
transitions. So if you have a theater in Colorado that would like to book the One Man Pride and Prejudice, you let me know, and we'll get it out there for you. I know that was distracting, but that was the comment on the people are going out maybe with a smaller push towards stuff they would not have otherwise seen and more independent stuff, because the big box stuff is becoming intangible for the masses.
I don't know who can afford right now ticket. Like if I see a show coming to in Colorado, it's the Ball Arena, Coors Field, Empower at Mile High or whatever. I just skip it. Like I saw AC/DC's coming to town this summer to play where the Broncos play with the Pretty Reckless, another favorite band of mine. I didn't even look. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
You're just proud of them. You're like, oh, good. I'm glad they're still playing. But
I'm
you
glad
weren't
you guys are
inclined to
doing
go
it.
get it.
Pretty Reckless, good on you. I love you, but like I'll catch you another time. But speaking of small theater stuff, like the best theatrical production I've ever seen was at a small theater in Albuquerque, New Mexico, called the Albuquerque Little Theater, where they did. Oh, you've been to the ALT? What?
Sorry, continue.
But my wife and I, when I was in law school, I went to school at the University of New Mexico School of Law, and we would go regularly because tickets were affordable. And there was this thing where Broadway actors, like when they needed to get out of New York for a bit, would go to Albuquerque because it's super cheap. And they were doing Cabaret, and the like the MC character from Cabaret was one of those Broadway dudes. I forget his name.
Hell
But-
yeah. Summer stock, man.
He was amazing. And the whole show was just incredible. Like my wife and I talk about that to this day, and I think it was $12.
Yeah.
Like it was just wild. In Colorado, there's a place called the Creed Repertory Theater that actually has like living quarters for actors around the country to come and stay. You want to get out of the city for a minute?
Those are like everywhere. Yes. I love them.
Creed, Colorado has an amazing
Have
theater.
them bring us in.
Oh, dude,
Tell them. Okay, we'll discuss that later.
We'll discuss that
But
later.
it's. I keep going. Not everybody can afford the Taylor Swift tickets, right? Even the
Yeah.
people who can afford the Taylor Swift tickets wind up getting bullied into selling their Taylor Swift tickets because they can't afford to keep the Taylor Swift tickets when they realize how much is being thrown at them to give them up. Like
Oh,
my
dude.
niece was one of the biggest Taylor Swift fans. She got tickets through the fact that she stayed up all night and was fan clubs and pushed buttons and had 12 people, whatever. She got
her.
legit tickets. And then by the time the concert actually rolled around, which she had like a 2-year countdown on her phone, would not see the launch on the screens, anything else, wound up making so much selling the tickets at the last minute that she paid for her study abroad trip to like Europe, went to like Prague and stuff
Oh
on the like,
gosh.
I think it was like $6,000 that she got offered for the ticket she paid $100 for or something like that. But like it's become such a high price point that you can't afford to go, because even if you have a ticket, you can't afford not to sell that ticket.
Yeah.
And that's a scary world for the big box people.
Well, and I think this is where the indie artists have to take advantage.
Yeah.
Dear Marcia, we're not going to play the Ball Arena in Denver. We're not. But you know what we are going to do? We're going to play smaller venues, and we're going to promote them when we're doing those shows. And we're going to pull out all the stops. And honestly, it's going to be a selling point.
You're going to pay less for promotion, so you have the ability to make more in profit. If you play your cards right, you can still make money. You just have to don't spend more than you're making,
Yeah. Well, and speaking of which, it's not all artists who are getting screwed right now in these big deals, because Olivia Rodrigo, she's playing the O2 Arena in April next year, in April 2027. She had booked 4 days at the O2 Arena, which is impressive in this
That's a
time.
lot, yeah.
But I have bad news, Lauren. The 4 days were not enough.
Not enough.
They added 5 more nights because
She's having Taylor Swift. So all the people who are canceling out of Blue Dot, she's like, I'll take your slot. I got you.
So this makes me wonder, is this more of an American thing? I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world because I'm a selfish American, but like it seems, and Olivia, small sample size, admittedly, Olivia Rodrigo, exceptional talent, but she more than doubled what she was doing because she was moving tickets. And so she's doing something right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it right now, but it's not all doom and gloom.
It's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, it does make you want to go, what is she doing?
What is she doing? I'll tell you one thing Olivia Rodrigo is doing really well.
Singing.
She's singing. You know what else have you listened to her recently?
Like how recently is recently?
Like in the past year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've heard a live though, so now I'm going to need to hear.
Well, live is actually pretty cool. So
Because she's got good live.
One thing I've discovered is she's bringing the guitar back, and she is having some fun with a little bit more rock and roll stuff going on. And this kind of made me think about what we talked about a show or two ago, or maybe a month or two ago, is making sure you're having fun.
Yeah.
I think if you go to an Olivia Rodrigo show, you're probably going to have a great time.
Yeah.
And I think she makes sure that happens, and I think her fans are willing to spend a little extra money.
You got to do more than just sing. You got to make it an event. Why are people coming out?
You do. And quickly before we get to our break, I can't believe we're already almost to our break.
I know. I was going to Taylor Swift segue, and then I didn't because I was like, oh, we're running short.
I know, but you brought this up, and it's too good to skip because it's going to drive Ryan crazy that he's not here to talk about his favorite thing in the world, intellectual property.
No.
So let's talk about Taylor Swift filing. And this, when you told me this, I was like, you have to be wrong, Lauren.
These are like Ryan's favorite things, like trademark and copyright law and Taylor Swift.
But let's do a quick recap. And next, when Ryan is back, he can do this in more in depth because he's better at this than I am. But you've got copyright, which the way I think of copyright law is think of that's your song lyrics. That's your songs. You copyright those.
Right.
Trademark, that's your logo, right?
You're
gonna
branding.
copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're branding. Patent, scientific stuff. Taylor Swift says, yeah, I see that. I have a better idea. What if, instead of relying on state right of publicity laws, we switch this over and file federal trademarks for the use of her voice saying, hey, it's Taylor, and I forget the other one, but basically too, like, I'm Taylor Swift.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift. Hey, it's Taylor. Things like that is so those of you not following, as Ryan likes to say, Taylor Swift has filed for a number of trademarks in order to help mitigate, hopefully, AI misuse. She's trying to step ahead of the game of people using her voice and her likeness to create images and create sounds, not be able to create her music, not be able to put, hey, it's Taylor in front of the song. And Ryan would love this because he, as you all know, was part of the team who actually got the trademark for Pitbull's Pitbull. I didn't do that. I did whoa.
Which I wanted to bring up because he wrote a law review article about this.
Yeah, he's going to go back and listen and be like, you pitched that terribly, Lauren. Gee.
But I think what's worth underscoring here, and Ryan can certainly put a finer point on it, is that a lot of these protections, air quotes, kind of exist, but it's the patchwork of state laws only in in two places really that I can think of off the top of my head. Taylor is saying, no. I am doing this federally because that also gives her the power to sue in federal court. And I gotta say, it's a novel approach. I'm pulling for her because if there's anybody who's had AI run roughshod over their image, it's Taylor Swift. I mean, Donald Trump used AI to fake her endorsing him, not even to discuss the slew of just horrific images people have produced with her likeness. Like, artists and anybody deserve to be able to get in front of that and fight it off at every angle. And Taylor, I am pulling for you because
coming ahead. Right.
Yeah, get out there, do it. I love hearing this type of Taylor Swift is not playing defense. She is playing offense, and that is what I think is impressive. And I think that indie artists need to take note because this is something that is going to be dealt with, probably litigated in the near future. And this may be another, as the article says, from what are we in,
Variety. Yeah.
another quiver in the arrow to fight off, right of publicity and copyright infringement and likeness, people impersonating you. So
Yeah, not everybody can afford to do what Taylor Swift is doing, but as she has done so many times in her career, she is doing what she can to make moves that will then help other artists in the future. If she can, there's so many AI cases going up now where they're like, after the fact, you've already used it. What can we do about it now? We'll just ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And Taylor's like, there's no ambiguity about this. Like, we can pretend everybody knows it's wrong. Now I'm straight up applying for I can't believe I have to pay money to say this, but you can't say you're me.
Yep. Taylor Swift, go get him. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with our fantastic guest, Maria Ellis, fantastic singer-songwriter, Berkeley trained actually. So we're going to come back after the break. You guys, thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you how many? 5, 3? I don't know.
Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show.
All right, we want to thank everybody for tuning in on Sirius XM Radio, 145 Slam. Also, if you're joining us from volume.com, one of our fantastic partners, thank you so much. Or if you're listening on any other podcast platforms, we appreciate having you. Our guest this week is a Berkeley-trained Long Island-based pop and R&B singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist and producer. She does it all, Lauren. Her debut EP, Ultra Batty, fantastic name, dropped in May 2025, and she's now rolling out a new series of singles that map the arc of a single relationship, starting with her latest release, Relapse. You can find out more about our guest work by visiting mariaellismusic.com. We're happy to welcome Maria Ellis onto Break the Business. Welcome, Maria.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can I just say, fantastic website. Just,
Thank you.
you know what?
you.
They say it is your home. It is very welcoming.
Thank you very much. It's pretty simple, but I appreciate that.
I appreciate anything that, like, immediately what I do when I'm looking at guests and doing some research is I want to hear the music and I want to sort of check out their socials. And when you land on her website, you're going to see immediately what Maria is all about. But if you learn about her, and you can actually see on my screen, I've got it going in the background, you're going to find that you have quite the background, Maria. I got to ask you something. So
Yes.
I read your bio. You started off playing piano at 3, is that right?
Yes.
Writing songs by 6.
Yes.
Grew up in Long Island in a Greek Orthodox household. Yet
Yes.
your father was into like Busta Rhymes and your mom was into like Duran Duran.
Yes.
And
yeah,
now you make get me from that to Ultra Batty. I just don't
that's
understand.
Ultra Body. Well, I think it explains a lot. I have a deep love for, strong females. Like my mom was obsessed with Pat Benatar, Britney Spears. And yeah, my dad loves rock music. So I was constantly listening to like Nirvana, Led Zeppelin, but also Busta Rhymes, DMX. So I think it just shaped me. I mean, it just made me very curious about music, and I was always so drawn to it as a child. So yeah, to take it from there to ultra baddie, I think I just have a really eclectic taste because of my parents. And I ended up making pop music, but you know, I'm a fan of everything.
Well, it's interesting. Like when I'm listening to your music over the past week, and I'm noticing like there's certainly a lot going on as far as especially when I'm thinking melodies. Like I hear not only the things we've talked about, but I hear a Prince influence. I hear like a Janet Jackson influence. I hear like
Thank
a
you.
Mariah Carey thing going on. It
Thank you
seems
so
like
much.
you're pulling from every point on the compass. How do you know when it's right to pull an influence and when you want to hold back off on that a little bit?
Well, I'm never trying to do an imitation, and I really appreciate that. Those are some of my favorite artists. I
It's
love
clear
them
if you listen to
so
your records.
much.
Super
Thank you
clear.
so much. I think it's always about if I'm listening to something constantly, I do feel like it does get fused into my music a little bit. Like I said, I'm not trying to do an imitation of anyone. So if I'm listening to a lot of Mariah, I feel like she really influences my vocal production and how I arrange my stuff. And I really love Prince as well. You know, he was phenomenal. I named my dog after him.
Word?
That matters. um,
I love this.
but yeah, I feel like I'm a sponge in that way. Like if I listen to one album that week, I will definitely create something in that world the next week. So yeah, that's
That's
the
great.
process.
I
It's
love the concept of like using an artist as motivation to kind of just guide you. You know, if you're cleaning your house and you've got an album that helps you clean, like I love that you're like, you know what? Let me go into this artist I'm a fan of and see where that world takes me. Like that's beautiful.
Thank
well,
you.
it's interesting to me to hear that because like you have this eclectic household, but you did go to Berkeley,
Mhm.
and I mean, if you don't, I'm sure most people know, but that's a competitive establishment to
Program.
get into.
Yeah.
Not only did you attend, but you went on a scholarship. Um, but one of the things I saw in your bio is that you said that one of your best lessons came from learning from your peers, and that you had to unlearn the idea that being underestimated was negative. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think being a female in the music industry, it does test you a bit. I think being anybody in the music industry tests you a little bit. But I think going to Berkeley, I was a guitar principal, and I think I was just always met with a lot of, you know, weird looks or very weird comments. And, you know, I'm quite sensitive. So I think that at first it would get to me. And I kind of was just like, I love music. I'm here to, you know, expand my learning. And as the years went on, I just decided to take my focus off of that, you know, create with people that want to create with me, respect me. And yeah, being underestimated isn't totally a bad thing because then you can, you know, impress all these boys that think that they know better, but they don't.
Okay, so if you don't, so my band Dear Marcia is run by two women, and we do almost all of our shows exclusively with female acts. I'm basically their hired guitar player, is how it works. And my favorite thing we do is whenever we're with a new band, all the women sit around and talk about their biggest blowing that crowd away, because it's always some dude who's being a jerk, right? Do you have a memory of like coming into a venue or a show where people are just not taking you seriously and you could watch it on their faces as you changed everything in the room?
Are you asking for a male jerk story? You were like, there's so many male jerks out there. Can you tell me about one of those male jerks you worked with?
Dude, I just I find it very interesting when I'm sitting with my band and there are no shortage of these stories.
There's no shortage.
How much time is this segment?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
question.
Right.
I don't know. I think that especially when you're independent and nobody knows who you are, you have to prove yourself every single time.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the sound engineer that doesn't want to turn your mic up, or maybe it's the person that's like on their phone scrolling. But by the end of my performance, you know, I try to make everybody feel included and everybody's having fun. So I try to turn the energy around. That's for sure, because I don't like to like stay there.
We talked about energy in the shows, right? The recordings can be about the music, but your live shows have to bring an energy. So it seems like
Yes.
you've gotten that message. Yeah.
Well, and speaking about energy, I was kind of interested in when you wrote reading about how you wrote your own verse for Mood, and you pulled on what is TikTok 250,000 views. I should say 250,000 views in a day. At that time, I'm looking at it. It looks like you're at the time getting compared to Ariana Grande, right? As someone like you who sings, who writes, who produces, who plays the instruments, man, as I say it out loud, I get the Prince influence is just like right there.
Thank you.
Doing it all, do it all yourself. How did it feel to have your introduction to a mass audience be through something like that?
Amazing. I was so grateful for that moment. It was during COVID. I couldn't go out and perform, so I turned to social media, and there was this trend of if I had a verse, and I just kept doing songs that I was really, really drawn to, that I felt a connection to, and I had posted that, and yeah, it did really, really well, but it just introduced me to a whole new audience, and getting a comparison like that is flattering. I can't accept it, but I really, really appreciate it. But I think I love that trend because I can put myself inside of a song that I really, really love and kind of meet the artist where I would actually meet them if I was on their song, which would be a dream. And yeah, it was really fun to write that specific verse because it's very sassy, which I love to do.
Well, I mean,
I love
you
your
also-
sass. I was going
I
to say
know.
even just pre-stuff. I'm just going through, people can't see this. I'm going through like the album of press photos that were sent in your collection of things. And I was like, all right, sassy. Like, I think that was like the words out of my mouth. I was like, all right. And so when you were like, I felt like it was sassy. And I was like, okay, I got that. Yes. Would that be a word you use to describe yourself? Do you think you're a sassy woman? I love it.
I think I have to be.
And you are, okay?
Thank
You
you.
are. Own it.
Thank
Well,
you.
I mean, one of the things that I find really interesting about you, because I produce my own music, and I saw that,
But you
part
are
of the
not a
impetus-
sassy female. I'm sorry.
I'm not a sassy. I'm not. Listen,
No.
You can
I know
be
my
whatever you
limitations.
want.
A Maria Ellis, I am not.
No.
But one thing I do appreciate is when I see artists who something happens like COVID, and you say, fine, I can't get to a studio. I can't do these things I'm used to doing. I'm just going to do it myself.
But you still
What would-
found an audience.
Yeah, and frankly, did it really, really freaking well. So how much of your sound comes from being that level of control? You are clearly the captain of your ship. How does that influence your sound, how you produce it, what you make, the shows you do? How does that level of control, what does it mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. I think that I do have a really strong vision of where I want to be and what I want the music to sound like. That, I guess at this point it's good that I'm independent because I love being the captain. I love, visuals. I love producing. I think I love also collaborating. And I have a pretty good ear when it comes to bringing people in that I know would kill it. Sometimes I start off music and I'll start producing something and then I'm like, okay, this person, Christian Macy, he'll be perfect. I'll put him in here. I know what he can do. He's going to kill it. And I feel like I know when to bring in a team and I know when to bring people to help my vision come to life, because it all doesn't happen by just me. But I think it's good to know when to ask for help and where to ask for help. And when you also know, like, this is also what I want. And, not changing the things that make you, you.
What do you do when your collaborators maybe don't see it your way, but ultimately it's your decision? How do you handle that?
I do think that can be a bit tricky because, yes, especially if it's for my artist project, I do have to feel strongly about it. I do have to love the record because I'm the one that's promoting it and it's my music. I think it's been a while since I've really had a very different opinion than one of my producers, but sometimes you have to give it time. Sometimes I've really not liked something in the moment and I've let it sit and I've listened to something for weeks at a time and then I've realized that I do like it. And then sometimes I don't. So I do think that when it's your artist project, it does, you know, rely on your opinion at the end of the day. So that's what I just do in that situation.
Do you find that enlisting the proper collaborators on the front end helps keep that from happening?
Yes. Yeah. I don't work with anybody who has a huge ego. Everybody that I work with is so kind and so talented. And I love working with other women, other female producers, other people that I worked with at Berkeley. They were all very talented, but very kind. And there was never any sort of this person needs to be right about that. We're all in service of the best song. And that's what matters the most.
You know, I've always found it a red flag whenever I'm working with somebody or a producer and they say, I want to put my stamp on it. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's not your record. So that's, I don't know. It seems like you and I agree on a lot here.
I love
Maria.
that.
I'm seeing a collaboration in the
agreeing.
future. I'm just saying.
Oh, I don't. Maria's not putting me on her record. Like
Why not?
Because
Why
I've
not?
heard I don't
We
bring
can
anything
feature.
to what you do that you can't already do. Right? Like
I don't believe that.
you're seriously, listeners, go listen to her music. When you hear it, you'll be like, okay, she doesn't.
I'm
need
an
that.
advocate for collaborations in general. I like artists working with other artists just
Me
for the
too.
fact that working with people makes people better people.
Well, Maria,
It
I'm there
does.
if you ever need me. I
I would
also
love
recognize
to.
your talent.
I would love to.
But one thing that you and I
Awesome.
have in common that I was not expecting was that your next series of singles is working like a miniature concept album. I love a good concept album. That's just the rock and roll nerd in me. Will you tell us about how Relapse is taking you through this, or starting and leading us through this story?
Well, I didn't have the concept to write a whole project about a relationship before I wrote any of the songs. I just made music that I loved. I had a bunch of love songs about falling in love, the safety of it, like the initial meeting, the honeymoon stage, it falling apart, trying to pretend like it's not falling apart. And then when I wrote Relapse with Jackson Hoffman and Ryder Stewart, it just all came together. I was like, this is going to be a story that I tell. And I love concept albums. I love listening to an album top to bottom and it going somewhere. So I'm really, really excited about it. And yeah, it's funny to start at the breakup, but I really, really love this song. And I'm really excited that people, are listening to it and responding well. So it's very funny to go kind of backwards, but I loved this. So I wanted to come out with it first.
Well, I think that's an interesting way to do it, to tell the story in a nonlinear fashion. I think is a very compelling and unique way to do this. So
Thank you.
why structure it this way and come out like, were you ever tempted to just release the singles and hope people connected the dots? Or is this story arc kind of part of the overall, musical vision that you have right now?
I think my vision was just to go with the things that I really felt stuck out to me the most. Obviously, I love all of them. My songs are my children, but I really felt like Relapse was different from things that I've put out in the past. It's a little bit simpler. It's very catchy. It's, has a little bit of like a 2000s Timbaland vibe. And I wasn't really thinking of the arc of the story. I think I was just like, I want to put this out first. And it is towards the end of that story. But then I guess maybe people will want to tune in and hear how I got there.
How it got there, yeah.
I mean, it's a very Quentin Tarantino way of going about it, and I
Thank
actually
you.
really like that.
She's like, you're hitting all my check marks right there.
Oh my
Well,
God. Quentin, Prince.
Well, here's the other thing though, because you just brought up Timbaland,
Yes.
and I'm thinking about as I've listened to your catalog, I mean, you draw a lot from that 2000s era of production. Timbaland, Britney when she was Britney, but you've reimagined it in your own way. This makes me feel so painfully old, but you're a 20-something, and you're pulling from this era that you weren't alive or weren't really part of firsthand. It breaks my heart because I was there.
It made me sad when she was like, my mom was a big Britney fan. And I was like,
I
No. Okay, but here's the
Hurt
thing.
me.
I'm 28. So I was there, and I think I was about 4 years old, I believe, when Hit Me One More Time came out.
Okay.
So
You were like, I was alive.
I was
You're
but I
talking
was
to people in their
incredibly
40s over here. So we're like,
No, I was incredibly aware of music from such a young age that I remember like the VMAs.
You were
performance was
totally doing the
insane.
choreography in your living room, weren't you?
I was.
I can see
completely.
this.
Why
with a
wouldn't you?
hairbrush in her hand.
Yes, I was obsessed with Nelly Furtado. Like I was
Yes.
really
Oh, word.
Yeah.
appreciated, even though I was a child.
Yeah.
It really did shape me so much. So I was there, and I
Ooh,
was really in it, even though I was young.
now I'm going to get weird on you because somebody told me this years ago, but they said that your musical identity is shaped when you're 11. Do you have any memory of like who the art? I know, right? I just messed you up. Do you know who you were like obsessed with at 11? Because like that's a thing. Nirvana.
Nirvana.
Nirvana, 100%. Yeah, I think, and every year since then, it's been Nirvana.
There you see, once it's stuck, it's stuck. Somebody mentioned to me in half, and I was like, what was I like? Like, oh, I was like, well, like maybe like Alanis Morissette, and I was like, oh damn, okay, yeah, no, I'm still there. I'm like,
Yeah, I feel like
Whoever
there's too many
sticks
artists
you.
to even name, because when you are so young and then you become obsessed with music, you're just constantly finding things that you're like, this
Right.
is phenomenal. So yeah, I love Alanis too. She's phenomenal.
The Nirvana poll is really interesting to me though, because I mean, you're making this fantastic pop music, but emotionally, I mean, I see the connection from Nirvana to what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're not like I want to say, to me, pop is not a bad word in the music. Like pop can be art, and I think your lyrics really highlight that a little bit. How do you cross that bridge from that like grunge level of emotional, that expression, while also making it catchy like Relapse?
Thank you. I have always been drawn to extremely honest songwriting. So whether I'm listening to Kurt Cobain or I'm listening to Rihanna, I'm always drawn to saying nothing but the truth. So I think that's where I draw the true influence from, is I try to lay it out on the table, even if it's the things that nobody likes to say. Nobody likes to say that they're going to relapse on their boyfriend that they're trying to break up with. Nobody wants to kind of admit these little things about themselves. But I think as a writer, when you do that, you're also giving people permission to do that themselves. So that's what Kurt Cobain did. And that's what all these, incredible songwriters did. So I think the honesty is the true thing that I'm always drawn to and always trying to do in my music and with Relapse.
Yeah, it sounds like the artists that you listened to were saying the things that you felt like you couldn't say, and you took that
Exactly.
kind of advice from them and said, all right, well, I'll say the things that I think other people need to feel comfortable saying. Like that's cool.
Exactly.
I mean,
Thank
that
you.
at the same time though, it has to be a lot. Do you feel a sense of pressure when you're doing that?
I don't know if I feel pressure. I try not to divulge every single bit of my personal life so that I feel a little
It's not a
normal.
journal, right?
Fair enough.
But I do think I've always had this honesty within my songwriting. It was the one place that I could go. I was a very shy kid. So being able to say all my emotions. I was excited to do that. So I try to still have that inner child that was just like writing whatever I thought. But obviously, as I get older, it gets a little harder.
Well, man, I really enjoyed your music before I met you, and now that I've had a chance to talk to you, I can't wait to go back and
You want to go back and
revisit.
listen again? I was thinking the same thing.
Like,
Thank you.
no, it's really cool, and like, but you've also done like, how, because you do So Far, like you've done So Far Sounds shows. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been on the Spotify playlist and the Apple Music, the editorial playlist and things like that, and you're doing it independently, while wearing your heart on your sleeve, doing all of this on your own. I mean, what does it look like day to day being the artist and the business?
It's definitely a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie.
She's like, I'm a boss lady.
No, it's just a lot. It's a lot of
No.
hats. I think,
Yeah.
especially if you want something done your way, you have to do it yourself sometimes. Day to day, it's a lot of writing sessions, a lot of content creation, because that's the world that we live in. But I don't actually mind it, because I think it's worked in my favor, and I'm able to reach people that would never know my music. So I'm grateful for social media. But I guess it varies day to day what I do. Sometimes I get to do a really fun photo shoot, and I get to shoot content for my music. And sometimes I have to, make a content schedule and do the things that aren't as fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Our guest this week has been singer, songwriter, producer, and performer Maria Ellis. You can find out more about her by visiting mariaellismusic.com. Before we let you go, we have one final question that we like to ask all of our guests. Do you have any last tips for our indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
I already knew this was the last question because I've seen the show before.
Aw, homework.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. You're both lovely, and I would love to work together. We should make music together.
For it.
My answer would probably be, in the industry, I've found a lot of people tell you what to be, who to be, what to sound like, what to do. And I think you should only follow your gut. You know what's best for you as an artist. And obviously being yourself, as cliche as that sounds, but just following what you want to do, because nobody's going to know what's best for you except you.
Oh, that is wonderful advice. Thank you so much to Maria Ellis. Thank you so much to Zach Sloan for sitting in. Happy anniversary to Ryan and his wife, Chi Ying. May they have another 10 years and many more together. Thank you to all of you viewers and listeners out there. Thank you for watching Break the Business. We'll see you next week.